This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What is going on? Skol Gang 365. Welcome to another edition of Vikings Football Talk. I'm your host, Darren DeRoy. Let's talk about some tragic and devastating news, Viking fans, we had gotten. So, for many people that don't know or didn't hear, Vikings legendary defense lineman Jim Marshall passed away at the age of 87 years old. The biggest thing for me when it comes to talking about Jim Marshall is the simple fact of the man was an absolute legend in Minnesota. 14 consecutive seasons as a captain. The man had like 130 something odd sacks. And through the NFL outside the Vikings, he's most noted for his fumble recovery and running the wrong way against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, mind you, yes, that was a mistake. But the Minnesota Vikings did not lose that game against the Niners. We beat the San Francisco 49ers. But, I mean, you're talking about a guy who played in a time with Carl Eller and Alan Page with a amazing head coach, Bud Grant. Secondary consisted of Bobby Bryant in that decade. They had Paul Krause, who his numbers still, the record that he had set still is unbroken for interceptions. But for me, when it comes to talking about Jim Marshall, and it's sad talking about it because he was on the Purple People Eaters. They devastated the NFC North. They ran havoc on Black and Blue division from the mid-late 1960s all the way until about 1975. So that's like what we're talking about this morning with Rob and Chesterton. They ran havoc for a decade. I mean, around in that time. So you had the Minnesota Vikings in that time. You had the Los Angeles Rams with Deacon Jones and them guys. You also had the Orange Crush, the Broncos. You had the Steelers, of course, with the steel curtain, and you had a couple others around that time. Definitely top 5. And I'm gonna, like I said this morning, I'm giving the Vikings top 2, and that's the Purple People Eaters. They set the standard of what defensive lines should be in the NFL. Like, when you talk about great defensive lines, you look at the Purple People Eaters and what they had set of for like the tone for going into the future. Like there's nothing like matched. You look at Carl Eller's numbers around the same, like 130 odd something sacks, same as Jim Marshall. You look at Alan Page, another true testament. Those guys are so iconic, and it goes to the iconic photo that is my favorite of those four guys practicing. The snow's probably up to here, and they're practicing, and you got Coach Bud Grant just out there in his sweats. Snow's probably up to here, and these guys are practicing through the snow. But to sit here and see that Jim Marshall hasn't been even inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, is absolutely asinine. And to sit here and think that it's going to probably end up being he gets in after passing away is just disrespectful to what Purple People Eaters set for the NFL and the legacy that they had cemented in the NFL. How you doing, Matthew?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Just starting off.
Giving your props to Jim Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad man.
I mean, even if you want to make the argument that he wasn't the first ballot Hall of Famer, he absolutely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. So the fact that he's not in there is just atrocious.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Not bad. Not bad.
Just doing the tribute show to Jim Marshall.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I appreciate you being on the noon show today too, right, Darren? And I'll just echo and reiterate what I said then. I don't know what it is. When you look at all the stats and everything with Jim Marshall, 270 games, he was the original Iron Man until Brett Favre put together an amazing streak. You know, the sacks, they didn't really record pressures back then. Look how many fumbles he recovered. I mean, and he was sharing that defensive line with 3 other guys. Sorry, what?
29 fumbles.
Yeah. He shared that defensive line with 3 other guys that should also be in the Hall of Fame and everything. He still put up these numbers. And if it was the one run the wrong way for a safety instead of a touchdown that held him out, that is an absolute travesty. The Hall of Fame should have put this man in when he was still alive. And if they do it this year, I'm happy that he finally got there, but I'm also pissed that they couldn't, that he didn't know about it. You know, I mean,
Yeah, agreed. It's like, at that point, it's just a sympathy induction. It's like, no, he deserved it.
Right.
Look at how many players at a defensive end or a defensive tackle position, because, you know, they did a lot back then on the Purple People Eaters. Look at how many people are in that have done less. You know, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Well, like, I got some heat last year for being confused as to why Andre Johnson got into the Hall of Fame. I know receivers and defense are different areas of the field, but if a
Right.
receiver like Andre Johnson got into the Hall of Fame, like, yeah, he had like 3 fantastic seasons. He never made a difference in the playoffs. He never took his team and willed them into like consistent postseason success. He had a handful of good seasons with poor quarterbacks. Great. But if that's Hall of Fame level of play and Jim Marshall's not in, excuse me, pardon my French, but what the fuck?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's a great correlation and a great analogy. I mean, there's so many of these cases too. I mean, we could go down the line and start looking at people. I honestly think, and that's even a greater analogy, just because of the fact that he didn't do anything in the playoffs. They didn't get a trophy out of it. You look at a lot of guys that are in there and everything, and they're in there because the team got a trophy. But you
Right.
start looking at individual stuff, and it's like, this isn't adding up.
Right. Like he didn't have a longevity type career like Randy Moss or Jerry Rice. I think he played for 8 seasons, and 4 of them were good. Great. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, but then he had a handful of like kind of just meh seasons. And yeah, you can sit there till you're blue in the face and talk about who he had at quarterback, and we all understand they weren't great. But I mean, my God, like Jared was just saying, the Purple People Eaters, one of the best defenses of all time. And like you just said, Rob, the numbers he was putting up with other elite players around him, it's not like, oh, I'm the only guy, so it all comes to me. Like,
Right.
just ridiculous. And sadly, that's the only argument I've heard against him getting in is, I'm shut it run the wrong way. One play. Ooh.
I mean, it's just, to me, it's just like disrespectful because, obviously, trolls out there are going to say, oh, well, you had all that good talent, but, you could never get over the hump. I really honestly don't give a fuck because honestly, you look at the Purple People Eaters, you look at Bud Grant. I mean, Vikings still are a testament of that era. Without the Vikings, the Packers are probably good. The Bears are probably good. The Lions are probably good. I mean, there's a reason, like what Rob was saying this morning on the show. There's a reason why the Bears had fell off. There's a reason why the Lions had fell off. The last time the Lions had won an NFL championship, the late 50s. We come in the early 60s, automatically there's a stopping point right there. And then go look at the Bears. Same thing. I mean, to me, it's just like you have to give credit where credit due, and like I said, the Purple People Eaters set the tone of what defensive lines and defenses should be in the NFL. They paved the way. So
Right.
for Jim not being in there is just disrespectful to the legacy and what they set for the league today.
But then we're gonna watch someone like fucking Ndamukong Suh get in.
Right. And you don't even have the numbers that Jim's got.
And just to drive home Darren's point, which he made very well, but what I was saying on the noon show is, you look at the 8 NFL championships and all but 4 of the Packers championships and everything. They had stacked them up for years and years and years. And the Lions, they last won one in 1957. Chevy just had produced the best model of the Bel Air. The Edmund Fitzgerald was still in dry dock. It hadn't even went out in the water and sunk yet. But here come the Vikings in 1961, and other than 63 and a couple things from the Packers there in the early era of the Super Bowl era, Here come the Vikings. Now you got to face them guys twice a year, and all of a sudden these championships go away. The Packers had a 40-year drought before they won another one when Favre was doing his thing in '96. The Bears ended up getting one in 1985 and everything, but people were wanting to argue hard, especially the Bears fans in the comments earlier today on the show. I said in the top 4 dynasty defenses, and I probably didn't use the word dynasty, and I should have, because I could have prevented a lot of these arguments and everything. But I said, when you take the Purple People Eaters, you take the Steel Curtain from the Pittsburgh Steelers of that era, a little bit later, but Dallas's Doomsday defense, and then one of the arguably the best defenses that's ever played, the 2001 Ravens with Ray Lewis. But when they started the Ravens after that franchise had moved from being the Cleveland Browns and everything else, that was a building process, and they were actually pretty good the whole time running up to that Super Bowl run. And I mean, so I can string together a case that the 2001 Ravens wasn't just one good year. They had, multiple years, and the Purple People Eaters was a decade plus.
Exactly.
I'm like, where do you rank the Purple People Eaters? And the Bears fans got mad and came in the comments. And they're like, the 85 Bears was the best defense ever. Well, maybe you're right, but were they good between 1979 and 1990? No. They had a great year in 85. They weren't terrible in 86. 87, there was some fall off here. Yes, you guys had a butt ton of fucking Pro Bowlers, all this other stuff. But when you're talking about dynasty and I mean, my argument and my ammo to validate what I'm saying is, look how the Bears and the Packers stopped winning championships of any sort all throughout the 70s. Yeah, because the Vikings were there. That the Purple People Eaters meant something. I wish we had 4 Super Bowl wins instead of 4 Super Bowl losses in that stretch. But I don't think that's a defining factor. I think what it does to your surroundings and your contemporaries means as much as whether you actually accomplish it and you're hoisting the trophy, or whether you're just consistent and great for fucking 10 or 12 years.
Right.
And Jim Marshall deserves every bit of that recognition, along with Gary Larson, with Carl Eller, and with Alan Page. I mean, those guys should have a museum on just those 4 guys.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I see people putting the Legion of Boom over the Purple People Eaters. It's they were an absolutely elite unit for 4 years, but like you just said, Rob, it wasn't a decade. Did they get a Super Bowl out of it? Sure. And you could say, well, Jim Marshall didn't win a Super Bowl. No, but they went to 4. In the span of 10 years, they went to 4. Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl. He's in the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm sorry, but that can't be the absolute barrier, because there are so many people that are in that do not have hardware. And he absolutely did enough to win this team Super Bowls. But we just, for whatever ungodly reason, didn't win one.
Yep. And then
that entire narrative of this franchise as a whole is different if we just get one of those.
And then, to think that not only did we make the 4 Super Bowl appearances, but how consistent we were getting to the playoffs. So, I mean, it's not like, the Vikings, got to 4 and just fell off. No, we kept going back to the playoffs. Like, we kept kicking people's ass in the regular season. I mean, there's a reason why the NFL Network, when they show like highlights from that era, you see those 4 guys wreaking havoc. You see those 4 guys getting home to the quarterback, making it a nightmare. You see them creating that pass rush for guys like Bobby Bryant and Paul Krause to get the turnovers that they did. So, I mean, it's just crazy to me the way that they don't get enough notoriety and respect that they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's extremely valid.
yeah. I feel like that's just kind of the case with all four major Minnesota sports because, like, this is going to be a little bit of a side tangent. But Karl Anthony Towns, he was here for what, 8 or 9 years? And
Yep.
every year it's, oh, he's softer. Oh, he's overrated. Oh, yeah, he's a good shooting big, but he doesn't do this well. He doesn't do this well. He goes to the Knicks, and 3 months later, it's like, is Karl Anthony Towns in MVP talks? It's just something against Minnesota markets that when high level players play high level, it's either, yeah, they're really good and they're going to want out, or we'll just poo poo them until they go to a big market, and then we're going to act like they're the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, look at Randy Moss's thing he had to live with while he was in Minnesota up until we traded him to the Raiders. Well, Moss might be one of the most physically talented, and you can throw out every little ad hominem qualifier on it. I've heard them all. The most physically talented, this, that, whatever. But he plays when he wants to play, so therefore, this guy's better and that guy's better. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice couldn't even do the stuff Randy Moss did.
Right.
And then
Jerry Rice used stick him most of his career.
They had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah, that too.
And then to circle back on your earlier comment when you were making the case of Marino, unpopular opinion, and me being a little bit older than you guys, I'm just gonna say it. In my lifetime, in my 48 years on this planet of watching football, Dan Marino's the best quarterback I ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
and
I hear it a lot.
And that's not a disrespect against John Elway or anybody else out there. I mean, Tom Brady's got all the freaking rings. Yeah, you look at shit. I mean, there's been so many fucking great guys throughout the years and everything. It's just, well, yeah, Peyton Manning. I feel like Dan Marino is better than Peyton Manning. Joe Montana would be the next probably closest one you make an argument for. If I had a choice between Joe Montana and Dan Marino, I'm taking Dan Marino 10 times out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude just had an almost supernatural pop of the ball out of his hands. Like, yeah. I mean, obviously it was before my time, but from what I've seen of his games and his play, he just opens his palm. Oh, shit, the ball's 40 yards downfield.
And to think that he could have been a part of that 1998 Minnesota Vikings team.
I know, right? But we got Randall Cunningham instead, so yeah.
I'll take Randall too.
Yeah.
That dude had legs and a fucking arm. You always knew when he was gonna throw it deep because his legs would go all the fucking way out like this. That arm would wind all the way back, and I'm like, yep. Good luck trying to stop that.
Right?
You always had Chris Carter and Randy Moss, Jake Reed.
Yep, and the tight end, Andrew Glover. He always gets overlooked, but he was a big part of that fucking team. And Robert Smith at running back. Man, that fucking team was loaded. I just wish we could have fucking won it.
Yeah. I just wish Gary Anderson would have got the helmet over the head after the game, like Myles Garrett gave fucking Mason Rudolph, but
okay though. I'm gonna see who's the reincarnation of Bud Grant.
Right? Well, hey, bringing up KOC, we were talking about that earlier too, Matthew, and this is one I think you would weigh on rather well. We talked about this on the morning show. So we're looking at the landscape of coaching and quarterback development within the NFC North, right? So the Lions, they inherited Jared Goff from the Rams. They did not develop him at all. They got what they got and everything. Similar to us getting Kirk Cousins. We did not develop Kirk Cousins. We made a 6-year stretch or 5-year, whatever, stretch with him. It's all good. The Bears have been on the struggle bus for years and years and years, quarterback, because they cannot develop one. Now the Packers have went through 2 generational talents with Favre and with Rodgers. Now they've got Love, and there's a lot of work to be done. It doesn't seem like he's developing. But we got KOC. He had one last year with Cousins, and then the injury and the clown show that was 2 years ago and everything. Then last year he got his guy, but his guy got injured and never played a regular season game. He took Sam freaking Darnold, who nobody had any interest in, and managed to win 14 games. I feel like we actually have a coach now that can develop quarterbacks for the first time since probably Denny Green was my synopsis this morning. And that's why I think, JJ McCarthy is going to come out. He's going to look like a rookie at points, right?
Yeah.
But if you judge the improvement week to week to week throughout this next season and everything, I have hope rather than despair, like I would have had with a Zimmer coach team or a Leslie Frazier coach team or a Brad Childers coach team or a Mike Tice coach team. I have hope that KOC is finally that guy, because he was a quarterback and everything, that he can develop this kid and everything. And we haven't had that since the Denny Green era. Plus, we fixed the biggest glaring weakness, which was our interior offensive line, all three positions of it. And people wanted to argue about that this morning too. Yeah. And those two things put together right there is the move, because everybody's like, well, yeah, but KOC this, KOC that, you guys can't win a playoff game. Well, it's because we're building some things. We had to put the final touches on things. And the major thing that should have happened for the past decade was that O-line. And then I'm telling you, if KOC can win 14 games with freaking Darnold, I'm pretty sure he can do okay with our rookie. Or he's a second-year guy, but,
Yeah. Well, what I have to say about that is I think we talked about this last week with KOC's win percentage with quarterbacks like Kirk, Josh Dobbs, Sam Darnold, and how their records are without KOC versus how they are with KOC, and their win totals are like 2 to 3 times higher than they are with any other point in their career. If especially fans of the NFC North, like Matt LaFleur has 2 playoff wins as a head coach, and one of them was with the Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers when they still had Devontae Adams. And then they lost Devontae Adams, and they won 8 games. And then Jordan Love's first year starting was actually year 4. Packers fans consider it triple. It was still his first year starting great. He still had 3 years of developing under a Hall of Fame quarterback. And the only reason they even made the playoffs and beat the Cowboys is because Kirk Cousins missed half the season. We win one more game that year. The Packers don't even make the playoffs. And they beat a Cowboys team that was missing their entire starting secondary. Their top 2 corners were out. Their number 1 safety was out. And then they got destroyed the next week. And Cowboys haven't been the same team since. So they can sit there and say, well, we beat the Cowboys. Great. You guys talk shit about Kirk beating New Orleans on the road in New Orleans. I guess I don't know where I'm going with that. But Matt LaFleur, he didn't win a playoff game last year with an improved Packers team. They got Matthew Golden this year. I guess we'll see if they can win a playoff team. But the fact that we even won 14 games with Sam Darnold last year is insane. Would it have been nice to win a playoff game? Sure, but our O-line didn't hold up. And I didn't listen to the earlier show yet, but I don't know what arguments people had against our interior O-line. And as far as the Bears, they haven't sniffed the playoffs since Trubisky. I don't know why. He's the best quarterback they've had in a decade. And now you got Ben Johnson coming out and saying, we are not primetime ready. It's been 3 weeks already, and we're still super struggling in practice. There's a lot of things to clean up. If Ben Johnson's sitting there going we should probably be playing a lot of noon games, can't expect them to be a 10-plus win / playoff win team this year. So really outside of Detroit, who finally won their first playoff game in 60 years 2 years ago, if they want to be the ones to talk shit, fine, they've earned it. But we'll see what they are with Dan Campbell's boneheaded moves without having Ben Johnson to clean them up. So as of right now, KC is arguably the second best coach in the division, strictly off of just what he's done with what little he's had to do it with. And we've already said this is the best overall team that he's had to work with. Our D-line is nasty. Our O-line, if healthy, is nasty. Our running back duo is nasty. Our receivers are nasty. We have a nasty defensive coordinator in Flores. If you want to sit there and say that KOC is not a winning coach, How many open plays did we see against the Rams that Darnold just couldn't either have the time to read and hit or just miss completely? But his coaching was on par. He was drawing up those receivers wide open
That's
multiple
right.
Yep.
times. You just
Yep.
have to have someone that can make the throws.
Oh, Matthew,
Exactly.
that's a great point, bro. And not only that, I want to piggyback on that. Look at Sam Darnold's career before he got here. Look at the way our rivals talked about him, and everybody thought we were destined for a top 5 pick. Man, Kevin O'Connell got that guy $100 million contract, man. Hey, $55
Yep.
million guaranteed. No matter what he does from there, he's got paid, man.
Yeah.
He's a respectable name in the NFL now. Now, this is another thing. We had the money to go out there and get Russell Wilson, Rodgers, any of these other guys that are out there, and our coach, reigning coach of the year, decided I'm going to go with this young guy. If he can even be a game manager with this roster, that's 10 plus wins.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of the OTA throws, Jamez, and I'm telling you what, I think we got more than just a game manager on our hands.
Hey, meet
And
Rob.
I am not going to hype up OTAs because I'm not going to be that guy. But, when they're doing 11 on 11 drills and he's threading that shit through our best corners and JJ, Naylor, Addison, Rondell Moore, even the rookie is just snagging that stuff in impossible situations. I got a lot of hope, man.
Rob, you know you're my brother. Hey, I am gonna be that guy. I don't give a damn OTAs or not. I don't care, bro. I'm telling you, he's picking up right where he left off when he was throwing fucking dimes to Walmart receivers that didn't even make our roster, bro. I can't think of in the last decade. So you guys, anybody in the comments correct me. I can't think of any starting rookie quarterback. He's still a rookie to me. That's coming into a better situation. If you look at coaching staff, roster, just the franchise believers who where he was drafted, just the whole 9 yards. I can't think of one, man.
Well, and how many national broadcasts do we need to see where people are still to this day saying like, "Oh, the Vikings should have brought in Aaron Rodgers because this is a team that's ready to win the Super Bowl this year." The only question mark is JJ McCarthy. So all these divisional rival fans that want to chirp and say that our roster sucks and is overrated. Good Morning Football. I mean, we all know the shows. They're saying
They
like
said
this
last year.
Vikings roster is a Super Bowl roster. The only question mark is their quarterback.
And I ain't gonna lie, man.
Right.
I did kind of want him on board when he dropped down to the 10 million, but when Kevin O'Connell decided not to fuck with it, man, we just can't risk the locker room. The first time Jefferson drops a pass, Rodgers might not throw to him for 5 goddamn weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's just
Fuck
Right.
like you
that,
said, we got a
dude.
nice and the
You
guy,
don't even need that.
Roger Goodell must believe in this shit. Something like, hey, we're the first back to back overseas game. We got like 7, 8 primetime games. He loaded us up. He must feel like the
Yeah.
Vikings are going to be a big ticket this motherfucking season.
Well,
You know,
again, we're
and,
sitting here
and
saying like we. Oh, my bad.
Oh, I was just going to say, I see a lot of Vikings fans talking. It's like, oh, well, Justin Jefferson's going to have such a great year, Addison, all this other stuff. You start looking, and everybody wants TJ Hawkinson to have 1,000-yard receiving years of tight end and 10 touchdowns. I gotta execute a little expectation management here. Do you guys realize we have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Ty Felton,
That's a lot of mouths to
Rondale
feed.
Moore.
Yeah.
Jalen Naylor.
We still got Speedy, and then you have Aaron Jones, and we got Jordan fucking Mason. It is going to. I mean, unless we're blowing every team out by 55 points every week, it's going to be hard for all these guys to pile individual stats.
Fucking point,
But
Rob.
you know what? This is a team, boys. This is a fucking team we got assembled here.
Yes, and it ain't gonna lie,
Well,
Rob, I do want Hawkinson to go off, but I don't want it to be like that, bro. I want it to be a pick your poison. They don't know where the ball's going type of offense.
Yeah.
Fuck whoever has big numbers as long as everybody's eating, man. And people are looking at Jefferson and Addison. I'm not even looking at them motherfuckers like that no more. I'm looking at these I'm looking at these offensive line signings we got in Jordan Mason. I'm thinking that's going to be our X factor, bro. If he can add on to that motherfucker 5 yards a carry
Yeah.
last fucking year, he averaged like 5.2. So if he can keep Jones fresh, I'm thinking this run game is gonna be fucking real nice.
not only did he average 5.2, I think he was third in the NFL in yards after contact, and this was the 49ers offensive line that wasn't even fully healthy. They didn't have Trent Williams. Pretty sure their center was injured. So they were doing like a backup half their O-line, and he was still running like an absolute animal. So again, if our O-line can stay healthy, and most of them are known run blockers, like it's going to just open up a ton of holes. And kind of just going back to
Yeah, hell
OTAs,
yeah.
Rob, you said you don't want to put it like all this stock into OTAs. Again, I'd rather him look good than bad. Again, Ben Johnson sitting there saying, "Don't put us on primetime. We're not ready." We could be in that boat. We could have KOC coming out here going like, "Oh fuck, we should have signed Aaron Rodgers."
Man,
But
not only did
McCarthy's
he
looking
move,
a
them
little
fucking
rough
throws
right
are
now.
crisp. Them
right?
throws are crisp, Rob. That motherfucker, I'm
Yeah,
talking about, he can slang that motherfucker, man.
I mean,
that's
I'm
why.
just looking at the passes and stuff like that, and it's like, I understand it's an OTA, it's not a game time situation, but you just look at the darts he's throwing, the accuracy and everything else. That part of it is translatable to a game.
Yeah,
Again, I
right.
don't want a lot of Viking fans to expect this guy to just be franchise elite right away. He's gonna have some growing pains. We got to see him take a big hit, but I expect him by after the first month in, man, I hit the ground running.
Yeah,
They try to make it seem like he's the handoff king just because he's in a fucking a hardball run first offense. But I'm thinking that when he's asked to deliver, they make it seem like if you could have plugged and played anybody on that roster. I think the kid has the confidence for one, but when you look at everything that surrounds him and the way Jefferson and the guys are going to keep his confidence up and the way that they can put the boost on him and Kevin O'Connell, he's got the right motherfucker for the job, man. I think, man, the sky's the limit for this year. But that leads me to my question with the offensive line, Rob, and I want all y'all to answer this. Are we going to plug Donovan Jackson in right away, or are we
Oh
going
yeah.
to, or
Oh
is he
yeah,
taking is he putting
I
is
think
he
we
putting Brandon
do.
on the
yeah.
bench right away?
Because yeah, he's gonna be there right away because remember we don't have Darisaw, so he plugs right
Do you let him and
over
Brandon fight it out though?
no, so he's gonna
I think he'll beat Brandel
over
out.
the tackle, and then you're gonna have Brandel as your starting guard. So he's
Okay.
gonna be the tackle until
Till Darisaw get back.
Darisaw gets back.
Okay. I
Which
like
again,
it.
there's rumors that Jarisaw's back week 1, so we'll see.
Hey
Yeah,
man,
Well,
at least I
and
say about week 4,
don't
man.
forget we still have Walter Rouse in there who
Oh
actually
yeah.
played tackle.
yep,
So we got options. In terms of if you're just talking strictly Brandel versus Jackson, Jackson's going to win that.
He's
yeah,
gonna win that. Rob, you feel confident saying that? And because hey
yeah.
man, they say he's a bad
I do.
motherfucker, man. They say he can play
I
guard
do.
and tackle.
Man,
If
watch
he
this.
doesn't, that's a massive issue because this is our first round alignment we've taken since Darisaw. And if he can't beat out the dude that fell off the face of the earth the second half of the season last year, then that was a wasted pick. I think he's got
Hey
that
man,
bully mentality enough
no
to beat out
bullshit.
Randall for that starting job.
Hey, I'm
Right.
talking about man, especially
I,
with a couple of those other guys that were looking us right in the face. I'm talking about man, Omarion Hampton. Man, there's a couple. Man, there's a couple other guys right there. The Will Johnson was right there still. A lot of guys, man. So you're right about that, Matthew. I'm talking about he should be able to win that job.
Yeah. I mean, the Will Johnson,
but
I was a little confused of at first, but then I guess, yeah, the whole red flags, his knees came out. So I'm not super upset we didn't take him. But yeah, if
Yeah.
you're going to take a dude that was graded as like a late first, early second round guard, and you're going to take him at, what was it, 27 when we picked him? Like, yeah, he has to be a week 1 starter. Otherwise, what are you doing?
He got to be. I
that
mean,
just
like he
showed
got to
me
be, bro.
because we have, as fans, ever since the end of last year, has been saying our biggest problem is our interior offensive line. You know, we
Exactly.
we can beat most teams, but then when we get into the playoffs, and you're talking about the teams that have top 5, front sevens and everything, they will collapse our offensive line. Garrett Bradbury's been a liability since the day he was drafted. Ed Ingram was trash. He ain't on it. He's not. He wasn't. We got rid
Oh
of
yeah, I
him
hate that
and
motherfucker,
everything, but.
man.
Even just trying to plug in Reisner and Brandel and everything else, it didn't work. Going out and getting Allen, Will Fries, and then drafting Donovan Jackson shows me that the coaches actually understand what the fucking
Thank you,
problem is.
Rob.
The
Give
And
me a
for the
double
first
down
GMs,
on that,
time
Rob.
in 10
the,
years, we fixed the fucking problem so we can go.
Hey, Rob, I need more confidence in that. I need you to give it to me on a number scale because because I've been raving. I don't follow much teams outside the Vikings to know as much about other players, but I know how to read the headlines and I know how to look and see that other teams are fucking bidding. Bro, we got every guard for Will Fries and every lineman we signed this offseason was at the top of the food chain with multiple offers. Every single
Yeah,
one of them.
I think Kelly was the top center that was
top center.
available. Yeah, got him. And Will Fries, the big thing around him was injuries or lack of consistency. But under the Vikings system, I think he was going to absolutely thrive, and he is a monster size wise.
So
Yeah.
put it in this form for me,
Rob,
Matthew.
what
Is there a
scares me
chance
with Fries
you think we could?
is
What's up,
that
Rico
injury
man? I
problem.
didn't even see you down there, buddy. Is there a chance with what we've constructed that, especially with the Lions' problems they're having in Green Bay not being what they used to be, that we could possibly have the best line in the North this year?
We
Yeah, with
could.
Ragnar retiring.
We could,
Okay,
especially with Ragnar retiring.
okay.
Like Bears fans
I
can
mean,
sit
we
there and
have the
hype up
best
the
center in the North if he stays healthy.
best left tackle, well, arguably the best left tackle.
If
I
he
think
stays healthy,
until Panay Sewell moves over
the
and starts
best.
at left tackle, I'm giving Darisaw that nod. But I will give Sewell the best
And
tackle
I'll
in the
be,
North.
Jameis, I'm going to be real here. Even if so, like we have the best right tackle, if Sewell moves to the left.
We would have to
Yeah.
see it because that's a completely different job. You're right. That's why I said so. I'm not giving it to him. I know we've seen
My
that he has moved
battery's
over there,
about
but
gone, guys.
there's a difference between playing.
I gotta check out, guys. My battery's about gone. I'm up on the farm, as you guys can see, and
All
everything.
right.
All
Not
right,
out of
Rob.
battery, but been a great show. Thanks for having
All
me
right,
on.
Rob.
Have a good night, Rob.
I'll see you on
I
the Skol
appreciate
bus.
you jumping on, man. You have a
All right,
good night.
take care.
Like what
Hey,
gets me with
for
Kelly,
seriously though.
guys, let me talk. What gets me with Kelly is if you look at his face whenever he plays, he looks angry. He
Yeah.
always
I
looks
say it
angry.
again with the
Like
man. You say
that's
what
the
happened? Say it
thing.
again, bro.
He looks angry.
Who's that?
Kelly.
Kelly, the
Okay.
center, our
Yeah,
center.
he's a bully.
So
Yeah,
It looks like it honestly looks like
he's
he's
gonna
gonna
be
be a bully every down.
a
you can see him
true,
being
Yeah.
the ringleader of the Minnesota
a
Moving
true
Company.
center. A true center plays like that.
No more,
Yeah.
no more when we come
He
across
ain't
Kenny
gonna be
Clark and
bullied around. He
Kenny Clark's not
he
gonna bulldog our guy no more.
He ain't gonna beat Bradbury.
he
Well, and
ain't
that's
gonna
the
be
other thing
pushed
too.
around. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, I
And
used to hate that shit, bro.
and every
He used to
North
be
team's
damn
gonna sit
good.
here and say, we got the worst. We're gonna lose. No, we're not. You wanna know why? We got the best center in the NFL.
From what I see, Matthew and Avery, y'all can correct it. They're doing the same shit as last year. They're scrambling. They can't find a flaw other on the roster, other besides that the quarterback is a rookie. So they're going to try to ride that because that's the only thing to ride right now. Just like last year, Sam Darnold was the only thing that you really had to ride because everything was pretty much intact until that motherfucker
Right.
went from Ghost Boy to fucking having damn near identical stats as Jared Goff. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying he had as good of a year, but if you go pull up those stats, it's damn identical. There's a reason why Dan Campbell wasn't coach of the year last year. I don't have to get into all that. But all I'm
Here's
saying
the
is,
thing. Here's the
I,
thing. Okay,
I'm telling you right now. Go ahead, Winkle Dick.
Detroit wants to talk. Detroit wants to talk. But how'd they beat us? Ben Johnson.
They weren't supposed to win that first game.
Ben
Yeah.
Johnson beat us.
Yeah.
I want to say that, but I will say I hate
No,
the
no,
way
no,
they're
no. Ben
undermining him.
Johnson beat us the
Yeah,
first game.
the way they're undermining him and making it seem like
I'm
he
more
wasn't
afraid
shit.
of the Chicago Bears right now with Ben Johnson as their head coach because of how he called plays with Detroit than I am Detroit.
No, now you might be going a little far. But I see where you're at where you're heading with that. I
I
will
don't
say
think.
that.
Yeah. I don't think Caleb can pick up Ben Johnson's offense. I think it's too complicated for him.
But Matthew, I could see him having
Okay,
an
yeah,
upgrade
yeah, yeah.
if that line can
And
block for him.
with that being said, right? It'll take him a year or two to pick up his offense, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I say that's a good
With
challenge
how
for a sweet one.
aggressive Dan Campbell is on fourth down and
He's not gonna be able to keep that up like
these new
that.
coordinators, especially offensive coordinator, when Dan Campbell's so aggressive, I don't think Detroit's gonna take the division this
Not
season.
I don't either, and that's a good point. But I don't think he's gonna be as aggressive, seeing how he's not gonna know he has the line. But this is what I say: with JJ McCarthy facing off versus Caleb Week 1, opening night, Monday night, that's a pretty good scale of competition for. That's a nice start off game. You know, they're not going to be trash. We're in Soldier Field. You know, what I'm saying their defense. They got a pretty good defense over there, and they got some shit that we got to stop. That's going to be a nice little test for JJ McCarthy. I'm not going to lie, bro. I'm not even going to say that we're going to for sure win that game, even though I do have us winning that in the close one. That's gonna be a nice test for him for JJ McCarthy in the opener. And if he can be that, because like you say, Ben Johnson, he is dynamic. And I hate how the Lions fans it's gonna backfire on how they're shitting on him now, making it seem like Dan Campbell was the mastermind and that he was just nothing now and they're just gonna squash him. I guarantee you Chicago's gonna beat Detroit at least once this year. Just like I damn sure guarantee you Minnesota's beating them at least once, maybe twice.
Yeah.
But you got a point, and there is some issues. They want to make it seem,
Guys,
oh,
guys,
we just drafted linemen and missing Rag now, and they just lost 3 starting linemen, man. 2 of them are really official to that line. That's not going to just be easy plug and play. I don't give a damn how good the rookie is. We might have to find a way to exploit that shit.
Mm-hmm.
guys.
Yeah.
On top of that, I don't want to point this out, but I've been saying this since we drafted O'Neal. Remember, O'Neal used to be a tight end in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what if we did the same thing that Detroit did with their left tackle?
Do we want to move Hawkinson to left tackle?
No, what I'm saying is play O'Neal, like have O'Neal line up as a eligible in the end
Okay.
in the red zone.
Yeah.
No, all bullshit aside, I know what we need to do this year. And my boy Steven from the Lions fan, he had brought this idea to me, and then I've been riding with it. We've seen how we got so much fucking depth on the line with our edges this year. We need to take fucking Harrison Smith from out there. He doesn't have the speed in the close up like he used to. We need to have him at like a sub linebacker package, bro, on the nickel coming
Nope.
in.
Right.
Have Metellus back there with fucking with Theo Jackson or whoever the fuck else that's coming up in the camp or whoever we might have signed. We got a couple of different options for that as well.
Like here's the
Bring him
thing.
up
Like
with the
when
run
someone
support.
says
Bring him up on the
Bolden,
run support and the motherfucking rushing the passer.
when someone says Bolden, it
Who?
reminds me of that safety we signed from Cincy.
Who that?
We signed a safety named Bolden.
Who the hell is that?
Bubba Bolden.
I don't remember signing
He's
nobody.
Undrafted
someone.
free agent.
I don't remember signing no safety from Cincinnati, but
No. That's Selma Bolden, the undrafted free agent receiver. We signed a safety named Bolden too.
I don't recall that signing, but
Well,
hey, man.
are you sure
Yeah,
you're not talking?
no. This
Well, you been
guy's
drinking, motherfucker.
a
You talking about the
bottom of the
2007
line
draft or
safety.
something?
Like he ain't gonna make any big news.
Oh, okay,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
okay. So
Okay.
you saying there's a name that would
Okay.
have flew under the radar. Okay, I got you, motherfucker. You at first
Yeah.
you were saying it like we should have all knew who he was. Okay, I was like, what's going on? I'm about to say, motherfucker, Cincinnati. I
Dark
know
horse
about that
player,
safety.
dark horse player.
Hey,
Yeah.
because if we would have got
He's
that
not a
safety from
top four.
Cincinnati,
He was
goddamn
like
that
a
motherfucker,
third.
I'd be
He was like the
shit.
third of the line. Say free agent signing.
Man, that
Like
motherfucker
there's
ain't
So
about to make the team
three
next year.
lines that
so,
they
yeah,
have
yeah.
in free agency,
So
That
basically,
and
motherfucker be
I
on.
didn't
That
even
motherfucker be off
realize
the
we
team before you
signed
wake
him.
up.
so basically, you're saying like he was like a third stringer.
He's basically a third stringer, but right now
Okay.
we're playing him as a second stringer because we don't have anybody out other than Theo Jackson and Harrison
Right.
Smith.
I'm really banking on that fucking, especially with a decent amount of money gave him that guy Isaiah Rogers from Philly could really be a strong number 2 for us, bro. Because even though we're giving him pretty decent money, and he wasn't even, they were so stacked he couldn't even start over there. But if Byron Murphy can keep this shit,
But
60 or 70
the
interceptions in a
thing is with
season,
Isaiah Rogers, right? And I'm gonna be real with you
I don't know
guys.
much about him.
Flores, he's a Flores guy.
Yeah. Same.
Okay,
Flores,
Same scheme.
Flores said,
all team.
I want Isaiah Rogers."
So
The
basically,
same thing with
okay.
that Miami linebacker last season.
So you
Yep.
basically
Yeah.
saying he could have the Cam Bynum effect on him, where the motherfucker was 2 seconds from getting kicked off the team to getting to becoming a goddamn top 10 safety. Okay, a top 10 is what he does. Okay, so he could fit in with the program is what we do here.
Okay, so Ken
Yeah.
Bynum to me Okay, only thing Cam Bynum did to me. What did he do in the last 6 games? What did he
Oh,
do in the
Dope ass
last 6 games? Jay?
celebrations.
what do you mean? You talking about all the dancing shit? He did that all year.
Some dope ass celebrations. Yeah.
Yeah, but what stats did he bring up?
Picks.
What picks? Okay, one
Mm-hmm.
pick.
One.
Man,
Yeah,
what did he do,
look at
man?
it.
God
In the
damn.
last 6
Just
games
get
he
work.
played, he had 1 interception
Okay.
and how many tackles?
How
I
many?
couldn't tell you.
I could tell you.
0.
One.
We could do. What's your? Are you trying to sell? All I was trying to say is that the motherfucker went from trash to class. I don't know what you're trying to sell, dude. There's a reason why
I'm
he
trying
got
to say that
he got
we
60.
did the
He
right
just got
thing
66
by not
million from the coach,
re-signing Cam
motherfucker.
Bynum.
I Darren disagrees with you on that.
I
Darren says we should have let
everybody can
Byron Murphy
disagree
walk
with
and
me
I
let
on
gotta,
that.
Cam
I
But
Bynum
look
gotta,
at
walk.
the
I gotta,
stats
And
in the last
I
6
I'm kind of
games.
torn on that.
Look at the stats and what did he do in the last 6 games he played with us?
All right, well, I'm gonna look it up for you.
It can't be as bad as you're thinking. You're just thinking about the fact that he's gone now. You just don't give a fuck about him like you're just like me. Once he's not a Viking anymore, fuck him. But dude, no, he became a pretty good goddamn player from where he was, and that was because of Brian
Well,
Flores, bro. Trust me, he wasn't the only
it was
one.
really.
Who else did he turn
Look
up?
at the stats. I care about what he is, right? But look
Yeah,
at the
Josh
stats.
McCollum wasn't playing like that before that. There's a lot of guys that he
Look at what
stepped up,
he
man.
did.
Byron Murphy
Other
wasn't
than
looking that
the
hot before
celebration,
Byron.
other than the whatever.
Are you saying
Yeah, it
that
was
he got
really.
hot? Are
Oh,
you
well,
you trust your
hold on.
And why is Darren taking so long? I mean,
because
if
you got
I'm
him
talking
sniffing out a
live,
six
why is
game
Darren
period.
taking so
God damn
long?
it! You got him sniffing out a six
On.
game period, bro. These stats
Why
are
are
gonna
you,
sound. These
why,
stats are gonna sound
why,
as bad
why,
for you,
why are
bro.
you hopping on here slurring your words?
That motherfucker said, I
So,
don't
I
know how many
mean,
tackles
all
he
right.
had. Zero
So here,
tackles.
here, 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 here.
The whole
Winkleman.
defense got demolished that
Hold
game,
on,
bro.
hold on. Winkleman. 2021 combined 28 assists, 8, 1 sack, 1 interception.
No, he said the last six games.
2022 combined 81 assists, 32, 2 interceptions. 2023
Uh-huh.
137 combined
Showing the trajectory,
tackles,
Darren. There you go.
43 assists, point 0.5 sack, 2 interceptions. 2024 96 combined tackles, 42 assists, 3
Mm.
INTs. So
Oh,
what are we talking about right now, bro?
that's a trajectory up, buddy.
I
What are we
I
talking
understand
about
what you.
right now,
I
bro?
understand he got his shit kicked in by the Rams, bro. The whole everybody did.
don't think it's a matter of Cam Bynum wasn't worth paying. I think it was a matter of who are we going to pay between Cam Bynum and Byron Murphy. And the front office looked at our corner room and was like, shit, Gilmore's gone, Griffin's gone. We have nobody. Isaiah Rogers has only started 7 games in his career. We
And,
still have
I
Henderson
actually
Smith. We
agree.
have Theo Jackson.
thank
We
you,
have
Matthew.
Metellus. We can afford to lose Cam
It
Bynum.
made more
We
sense
can't
to pay
afford
that
to lose
position. There
Byron
you go,
Murphy.
Matthew. It made more sense to put the money in that position.
Yeah.
And then you gotta remember, motherfucker, Brian
We,
Murphy's off
we,
a
we
bro. He's off
honestly,
a 7 interception season, bro.
Jameis, honestly, like I'm sitting here saying that even if we signed Cam, right,
Uh
and
huh.
gave him the contract that Indy gave him,
I
which
didn't want
they
to.
overpaid him. I'm being real. They overpaid him.
I think if the Vikings would have given that, I
Well,
would have said that was a
Indy
little too much.
also
Yeah, but Indy's
Indy
not in the same
also
position as us, though.
Indy also needed him.
But I'm gonna
Indy
be
also
real with you guys right
had
now.
a
There's one
secondary.
player on this damn roster I want us to resign. His name is Josh Metellus.
Right.
Yeah, he already signed
I
him. We
want to
already
sign
got
him
him, bro.
too.
He's
I don't
okay.
care. I don't
He's already
care.
gone for 2 more years.
We need to get him in the room and say, "What do you want?" Okay, signed.
Yeah.
Lincoln,
How
nobody's
many
more than
years?
how you
5?
more than a drink with
Okay,
you, bro?
done.
Why? We already gave him. We just gave him a 2 year contract. He needs to show up now.
He
First,
he's
he ain't that guy.
did
I mean,
he
he ain't
sign
good
this
now.
year? Because I think this is his last year of his contract, dude.
Any
No, no, he's got 2 more years on. Trust me. Go look it up.
I
He's
think
got two.
this is his last year of his contract,
I don't think
and
so,
he's
bro. Maybe
holding
he's
out
super
right
duper
now as
right.
we speak.
Even if
Well,
it
that's a
was, even if it
He's
was, look
holding
at it.
in. Sorry,
He,
holding in.
Even if it was his last year, bro, I wouldn't re-up him yet. This is his last. This is proof. If he wants to get paid big money by the Vikings, show me this year.
Right.
But he has. He's shown it through his
Be Cam
career.
Bynum or better, and you'll get paid. That's how I'm looking at
Don't
it.
say Cam Bynum, dude.
Be at that level at least or better, and he'll get paid.
He's gonna be better. He is already better than Cam
Oh,
Bynum,
You
dude.
got nothing to worry
All
about.
right,
Then.
so Josh Metellus is still on that 2-year extension that he signed before 2023, worth up to $8 million.
Okay, so 2 years
When is
at
the contract end,
25.
Dan?
23,
So this is
24.
his last season.
Yes, he's going to be a free agent.
After this year. Yeah,
Yes.
After
I
this
wouldn't re-up
season,
him
yeah.
right now. No, I wouldn't.
I would.
He's got
He's about to have such a mega year where the price is about to go up
show
on
up.
us.
He's got to show up.
Now, Wickerman, unless you think he's just about to go so ape shit to where we should just pay him now, because if we don't, he's about to tax the shit out of us. Now, I might get to leaning that way. But I believe in the kid, but I just don't. You know what I'm saying? This is more of a system type of defense now.
Yeah.
It's not a one man show, man.
It's a pick your poison. Do you pay him a big butt?
So Jameis, let me ask you a
I want to
question.
see Dallas Turner fuck some heads up, knock some fucking heads loose.
Let me ask you a question, Jameis.
What's up, bro?
If Hitman retires next season, who do we have as safety?
Who do we have? We have Josh Metellus, and that's it right now.
Theo Jackson, Jay
No.
Ward.
They must feel something about Theo Jackson. They just gave him
Theo Jackson?
like
I said, next season. I didn't say this season.
Shocked about
I
that
said next
contract they
season.
gave Theo Jackson.
Yeah,
Just signed a
and
2-year deal. He'll be here
Metellus
next
is in
season.
the safety next season because he's going to be a free agent if we don't resign him.
Hey, Theo Jackson's going to be there next year too.
I know.
Yeah, he signed a 2-year deal.
He just signed a 2-year deal.
It's to pick your poison. Do you pay Metellus a ton of money right now, and then if he falls off, we're stuck with a dude that had 1.5 really good seasons, and you're stuck paying him? Or do you wait till the end of the season, see if he pops off and plays really well for a second straight season, and then you might have to slightly overpay him? I'd rather overpay him.
These free safeties and strong safeties are coming real good out of fucking SEC and Big Ten nowadays, bro.
We got a full slate of draft picks next year.
I'll take a gamble, goddammit.
And
I'll be on Alabama's doorstep.
And that's what divides Spielman and Kwesi is Kwesi doesn't overpay motherfuckers. Spielman would just throw money to anybody and everybody.
Where's Terrence Newman?
Where's Terrence Newman? Where's Stephon Gilmore? We can play him at safety.
Good point, Darren.
And so to close out the show, I want to thank everybody for coming on, and I want to say R.I.P. to Jim Marshall, Purple Peak Leader, the Iron Man, Captain of Captain, 14 consecutive seasons as a captain, and I don't give a fuck. He should be on the very top of the list for Hall of Fame induction this year.
He should rise now. Hey, Darren, can I ask you one question before we close this out?
What's up?
About a year or so, 2 years ago, when he made the botch in the draft, with the guy with the dreads that we got from Georgia, and we had a couple misses. We got a lot of Kwesi there. He was just one of the most disrespected GMs in the league. Have you heard that slander recently?
Nope.
Have you heard anybody putting his name on the "I'm the Captain" boat memes or making it seem like he's gonna drive us and he's gonna get fired soon?
Nope. Just that first year with the bad draft.
It seems like this last year and a half or so, man, he's been doing some Stanford and Yale type of shit, right?
Yep.
You don't produce a 14-win team being a bad GM. I don't give a shit about coaches.
That motherfucker's been making the right moves. That's why he took motherfucking Brad Holmes to the goddamn cleaners in this free agency in this offseason. Took him to the cleaners.
But y'all have a great weekend.
You too.
Skol.